like to call to order the Monday, March 4th meeting of the City of Winona Finance and Personnel Committee. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder DePula.
Here.
Alder Wood is excused. Mayor O'Connor.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of February 19th?
Motion to approve?
I will second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. We have no appearances that I know of. No unfinished business. Several items under new business. Number one, consideration of resolution 24-3-2676, amending the 2024 capital budget for additional funding to complete the water well aquifer pump maintenance. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve?
And I will second. And Mr. Stefani.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have funding in the 2024 capital budget to complete the maintenance for well 1. I'm seeking a capital budget amendment to add some funding and switch the work to well 3 based on our pumping levels in the aquifer. The pumping levels are about 5 feet above where our screen is. And the screen's the part of the pump that intakes the water and brings it to the surface. The pumps are pulled about every 10 to 12 years, and the well 3 pump is due 2 years from now. It would be our 3rd pump in the system to pull. So we would put off pulling the well 1 pump and prioritize well 3 for this year. I did include in the packet the quote from Municipal Well and Pump, and also the bar graph that Jeremy made up for us, and a diagram of what a well pump looks like. But it was Jeremy that found this issue. He's been with us for just over a year, and he was crunching this data, and he came to me about a month ago, and he mentioned this. And we do have adequate pumping depth remaining on well 3, but it is our main well pump. But we've seen this pumping level go down over the years, so now that we're in our maintenance cycle for both, all 3 of these well pumps, it makes sense to prioritize well 3, pull the pump, and then add some length to the pump when we reset it back into the aquifer. So the extra 20 grand that I'm seeking would add, where you see the diagram of the pump, where you see the 230 feet, that would be dropped down to 270 feet. So we'd give ourselves 40 more feet of aquifer space for pumping into the future. And the price tag of that is comes to be about just like $43,261. So I'm asking to round up to a $20,000 amendment, depending on if some of the other stuff is required. If we don't have to use all this money, that's great, but to properly plan for the usage of well 3 for another 12 years until we have to pull it again, I think this is our best course of action. So I'm basically seeking finance and council's approval to amend the capital budget, adding $20,000 to this and convert the priority to well 3.
Questions?
I do not.
Does this have something to do with Madison opening a new well? Did
You
I
know,
hear that?
their new well, I believe, went online in 2017. This started happening in the first quarter of 2020. I don't know, but I've also heard that McFarland wells are running deeper as well.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Where is their new well? Is that between us and McFarland, or?
Yeah. It's on that, I think it's just south of the belt line.
Okay. Well, interesting.
I've had to do this before in my previous stop, add length to one of the aquifer pumps. It is a common practice. It's it's not something that you see every day, but it can happen, especially in drought
I was
conditions.
going to say it probably doesn't help with the drought either.
So
Okay. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder DePula.
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye. Motion passes.
thank you.
Next, item 6B, consideration of resolution 24-3-2677, amending the 2024 capital budget for the purchase of replacement trash and recycling carts. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve?
I will second.
Okay.
And again,
Thank you. This one is pretty straightforward. Our inventory of recycling carts mainly is diminished. We have some trash carts remaining in the inventory. The majority of our carts that we have out in the system for recycling have been out there, I believe, since around 2005 timeframe. The carts in general come with a 10-year warranty, and we're well past that with the recycling carts. And probably last 6 months or so, we've seen an increase in requests for replacing carts due to general cracking. And I don't think it's pressure related from the forks that collect it. But in any case, we are down to 0 replacement carts. I did get a quote for 54 trash and 54 recycling carts. And so we'd be seeking a capital budget amendment of $7,300. And we do have funds that we can pull. I believe it would be general obligation notes, Mark, if that's correct, from a project that we do have one more phase to go, but we have more than enough balance to reallocate some funds from the Tecumseh Bridge and Wall Repair Project. We have some asphalt work remaining with that project this year, which should nowhere near take up the remaining $118,000 that we're anticipating in that balance. So my goal in the future is to probably every other year to add a capital budget line item for cart replacement, just so we can keep up with the inventory.
yeah, I would think from now on, you're going to just be hearing of more.
Right, yep, so.
Any questions?
No, I don't think so.
No? Me either. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item, consideration of resolution 24-3-2678, amending the 2024 capital budget for engineering assistance to renew the 2001 Wisconsin DNR approval of well 4 site. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve?
I will second.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just what it says. It's the renewal of the DNR approved Site 4, site approval for well 4 location at Waterman Way Park. We had approval in 2001. It expired in 2003. And I think timing is right at this moment to move forward with getting the DNR renewal of the site location approval. We have, things up in the air with a couple of our wells where I just think for, in the grand scheme of things, not a lot of money to just renew the site approval and keep that approval active with the DNR. So I'm seeking a capital budget amendment. Veer Becker would be our engineer to assist the city with this in coordination with the DNR and resubmit the site survey, and then basically getting our ducks in a row for if anything comes in the future.
Okay. And you're reallocating money from the water utility reserve?
This would be from the reserves. Yeah.
Any questions, Patrick?
I don't have any.
Okay, I don't have anything else. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, 6D, consideration of resolution 24-3-2679, approving a design contract for Nichols Road reconstruction. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve?
I will second. Brad?
All right, so this is the second step in our 3-step process in designing the Nichols Road reconstruction project. Nichols Road is slated to be reconstructed from Winnequa Road to Maywood Road. This is primarily for pedestrian and bike traffic safety improvements. It includes the realignment of the Schluter Road intersection, which is a blind intersection at this point with the crest of the hill in the way of looking over eastward. We would also redo the pedestrian crossing at that point. With part of this project, we're also looking to do stormwater improvements, which will help getting an old pipe out of the Winnequa Park area over here where the fairgrounds are for most of our events, and it's kind of in the way of their planning and staking for their tents and other things. Also, the grass doesn't grow very well over the top of it. It also has an open grate right in the park itself that tends to overflow because the pipe is not at full capacity anymore. It's been blocked up and lined and other things, so getting that out of the way.
Then will you move that out to the road?
Yep, and so we would adjust our storm sewer pipe in the roadway. There's a tentative scope of work also to upsize storm water main if needed for the civic campus building for the future civic campus building. We would also look at putting in a multi-use pathway on the south side of the street, all the way from Winnequa Road to Maywood Road. That'll help service the campus a lot better, the park. It'll also tie into future pathways that the Parks Department has planned for not only South Winnequa Park out here, but also for Maywood Park, which has a sliver of property that goes all the way to Nichols Road. It'll also help service the Maywood school site, which has our after-school and summer camp programs and stuff like that. So, and the total for design is not to exceed $165,000 in 2024. This includes DOT process, which it can be cumbersome, which increases costs for our engineering consultants. And Strand will also help us navigate the grant cycle with the MPO. So there is a possibility, you can say it now because it may come up later, but we may be able to push this project, but for now, for our project, we'll continue with design. It could get to a point where we can just shelf the design at 90% and come back in whenever we need to and dust it off, and it would still potentially be funded at that point in time. So we're working through that, but for now, we're moving forward. Design as committed in the capital budget.
Any question, Patrick?
I don't.
One thing I had, this multi-use path would be for bicycles as well.
Yes.
Is that right? So, I mean, I would think that would help with some concerns about bus being on that part of Nichols Road,
That's correct.
going
Yep.
through the park as well, so,
Yeah, this eliminates bike lanes on the street, so
okay.
there will no longer be bike lanes on the street. With that being said, it's METCD and NACTO standards to allow bikers on the street. So if a biker would like to ride in the drive lane, they can. If they want to ride on the multi-use path, they can. So-
Yeah.
What, I do have a question.
Mhm.
What about signage? Like, will we have signage like directing people to the path as an alternate, or?
Yeah, we will have signs on the pathway as well.
Okay.
So it's been discussed in the in preliminary discussions for design and concept to sign that we're proposing an asphalt pathway, to sign it like you would if you've ever been on a golf course, stop signs at intersections.
Sure.
Oh,
Things like that, things of that nature. So it's not decided at this point in time, but it's possible.
okay.
Is that something we'll end up talking about at Public Works? You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, if there are no further questions, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye, motion passes. Next item, consideration of resolution 24-3-2680, approving a contract design for contract for preliminary design of library lower level HVAC improvements. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve.
I will second. Brad, are you going to be talking about this, or is Ryan, or?
I'm here, given that it's the library, but Brad as the project lead is mostly going to have the information that you probably will be asking for.
Okay. Floor is
So-
yours, Brad.
This is for history behind this. In 2018, we had Strand perform a facility assessment for HVAC issues that we had been having for some time in all of our facilities, all of our main facilities. And from the report, they prioritize projects for improvements. And to this point, we've chopped off a fairly good amount of those projects, starting with the least expensive upgrades, kind of seeing where they went, how they affected the overall quality of our HVAC system, and then from there replacing parts and pieces as needed. We have aging equipment in every single one of our facilities. It doesn't last forever, it breaks down. We've been having some very significant issues in the lower level here with the HVAC system. We actually have a report just recently that we got from a maintenance check that basically states that the air handling and controls system in the lower level can no longer be programmed, worked on, or maintained. It's too old. It's completely antiquated at this point. The software doesn't even have.
It's the original, isn't it?
No, it's
Well,
2001.
2001.
But
From the
23
building
years
project then.
for something that's technological is
Yeah.
like ancient history now at this point.
That's
So
about the lifespan that you could expect, you know.
yeah, so and it wholesale needs to be replaced. I'm just talking about the HVAC control system is 23 years. The rest of the equipment down there outside of the boiler and some of the pumps, which we've replaced several times since, are from the 1980s. So, or older.
Oh, that's better. I thought they were from the 60s.
Yeah.
So,
That being said, this project, this preliminary engineering for this project is to look at our options. To best hone a project to replace wholesale the entirety of the equipment in the lower level of the library, which also serves part of the upper level with the boiler system. It includes all of the controls, the thermostats, the hardware for like the controllers, little computers, stuff like that, programming everything, the boiler system, pumps, air handlers, ductwork, insulation, and cleaning. So this is to hone that project in, to look for some efficiencies both in cost and in energy use, and to scope the project out for final design next year, construction 2026 is what we're slated for right now.
would any of this be something we could put in money for from the federal, like energy savings, Mike? I can't remember what
Not
the
federal, but
program is.
focus on energy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, or even the feds, have all that money for,
probably not.
okay.
Just because the building's not
It's more buildings
equipped
than
and
buildings
ready
in
for
general.
something like a geothermal system
Right.
or a passive heating system where we use like sunlight or anything like that. It being the lower level.
It'd have to be some new,
Yeah.
be able to use some new technology
Yep.
that we, and are you also, because my understanding is that in order to do some of this, we have to take out walls around part of the furnace, right? Is that still the case?
No.
Oh, thank goodness.
We basically told them that this is an impossibility. Whatever we do, we take it apart piece by piece, we put it back together piece
Okay.
by piece.
All right,
The problem being that is, and I'll repeat this in coming years, especially before construction, is the lower level is essentially going to be unusable for a fairly substantial
if we were
amount
to
of
take
time.
out the walls, you mean?
No,
Or
during construction.
Anyway, huh? Okay.
The only way it won't be is if we write in the contract that there has to be temporary heating and cooling, and there has to
Ah.
be, by code, enough fresh airflow into the lower level.
Okay.
And that's really kind of where we get into an issue, is we have to provide constant airflow.
Mhm.
And it's a certain amount per square foot. And with temporary facilities, it's gonna be fairly difficult to do.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
So, I've already informed our library director about that, and he's,
He's very happy.
yeah.
2 thumbs up,
Yeah.
but a necessary evil.
Right.
And one positive is the council may be warm again, although things are better than they were.
Well, we
A few
did
years
replace,
ago,
we
yeah.
replaced the controller in here, and then we designated one air handler just for this space.
Okay.
So this room is served by, kind of like it's prestigious for the lower level HVAC system.
Okay,
The other rooms are sharing another air handler, and it's not doing very hot.
okay. So when you do this work, it won't be replacing components for this room?
It will.
It
yeah.
will,
It still
just
needs
because
to.
you have to do the whole thing for the
Yeah,
basement?
and actually, this room's not to code, so
Oh,
we would have to, if we touch it, then we have to redo it.
okay, okay. Patrick, any questions?
I don't.
Okay. Well, this has been, as you know, this has been a priority for me, fixing the library HVAC for many years.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I should say, this is the last hurrah. I mean, everything in the library will have been replaced at that point.
unfortunately, it's gonna be really expensive, but.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, I guess, do you need a roll call for this, Aline? I guess it's a contract, so. Why don't you go ahead and call the roll?
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye, motion passes. Next item, consideration of resolution 24-3-2681, amending the 2024 capital budget for design of library rooftop and building envelope repairs. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve.
I will second.
All right, so this is to design the rooftop replacement and building envelope repairs, as it states. We budgeted $35,000. We had some remaining funds left over in, I want to say it was the Phase 4 HVAC upgrades project that we're looking to reallocate to this project, which would basically put us right at the amount needed to fund the contract. The rooftop, in both cases, are over 20 years old, whether it's the shingled portion or the membrane portion that's got ballasted rock cover on it where the solar panels are. So this would be to design a wholesale replacement of both rooftops. There's some issues with additions that have been added to the original part of the library where the shingles are, where you have a shingled portion coming down and then there's literally a trough, a hump that stops and holds water, and it leaks in our director's office over his desk, and then it leaks in the new foyer as well, which is an issue. And it's great. You walk in the library and you see stains in the ceiling and
Yeah.
watermarks and stuff like that. So this is also going to look at fixing that. We would fur out the roof and frame it in a way that it has constant pitch in both directions at those locations. So
And this involves taking the solar panels off, right?
we would have to take the solar panels off, yep, and we're going to have to take the solar panels off at the Public Works garage, and these are slated for the same project. Bid is 2 bid items in the same bid is what we're planning, so. we
In
would-
terms of the removal?
in terms of both the removal and the construction.
Oh, okay.
So we're hoping that the big fish come out and bid on this because it's gonna be a fairly substantial re-roofing project with both
Can see that.
facilities. So,
Hmm.
Are we putting the solar panels back on?
the plan is not to put the solar panels back on. The long-term plan is to replace the entire program wholesale.
But that will make a difference in the amount of energy savings for this building, right?
For the.
Don't put them back on?
Yeah, temporarily. We basically, from the solar program versus MG&E, we save about 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So it's not a ton overall, but if you look at the energy use for the facility, it's a significant amount for just this facility. I mean, if you're looking at our entire budget, it's nothing
Yeah.
really, but for this facility, it's a pretty good amount.
Yeah, it would have an impact.
It would have an impact, yeah.
Basically, right now, the garage, we don't pay anything, we just pay base fees because we have so much solar
Okay.
on that Public Works garage.
Hmm.
It would have an impact here, too, yeah.
They could be put back on, couldn't they? Aren't they only held down there with weights or something?
It wouldn't be price effective to do so because you'd pay more in reinstallation than you would save in
Okay.
energy use. So
Patrick, do
just
you
to
have any questions?
potentially take them off again, so.
Yeah.
When you mentioned it's temporary to not have solar panels on the roof, right?
That's the long-term goal. I
Mhm.
think that in the 5-year plan, somewhere down the line, there's a solar project
Mhm.
And that would be looking, presumably, if there is a new building or there's major renovations to the existing facility, we would be looking at that facility. Community center needs a new roof within the next 5 to 8
Mhm.
years, probably closer to 5. So you could line all facilities up for one fairly substantial project, save a ton of money on that end because you're buying in bulk at that point for your panels,
And there
Mhm.
is federal money.
and there's money available for it.
Current equipment, what do we do with it?
It's not ours.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Okay.
We don't own any of the equipment on the rooftops.
Okay.
It's all third-party owned.
Gotcha.
We would just pay them to hire a contractor to come out and remove it.
Okay. And there's no possible way to, I don't know, reinstall it as a ground array temporarily somewhere? No?
Not with the space that we would require to do so. Plus, it would also not necessarily be cost-effective.
Gotcha.
to do it.
Okay.
I suppose they're about 10 years old now, aren't they, those panels?
They were 2.5 to 3 years old, depending on which building was installed first, when we bought them.
Ah.
Hmm.
Well, bought them,
Hmm.
when
Oh.
they put them on. The model year was like 2010, and they installed them in 2013,
Okay,
so.
all right.
How much of a savings would you really have from waiting 5 years to put them on? So you can do it all at once instead of just doing each building?
It's fairly substantial.
Like, what's that mean, like 5,000, 10,000?
I don't have that in
2,800?
front of me. I would have to get it.
Hmm.
We'd have to talk to some solar contractors about it.
Okay.
From what I've talked to Slipstream about this project, when we were doing the Office of Energy Innovation Planning Grant for the energy report that we had.
Yep.
And they said that, yeah, you'd not want to do one project at a time and bid it for small projects. The contractors that are out there looking to give you the best price per kilowatt hour production
Mhm.
are the big ones. They want to do fields, they want to
Right.
do substantial projects. Also, you're dealing with MG&E and legal 4 times or 5
Oh,
times
Yeah, you didn't want to do that.
versus
yeah.
1 time, which is, from what I recall, from everything I've read about the initial project, the city's bulk of their fees was wrapped up in legal fees as opposed to anything else.
Well, and part of that, I'm sure, was negotiating with this company from Colorado that we,
That and the MG&E contracts that you have to have.
yeah. Any other questions? I guess, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye, motion passes. Next item, consideration of resolution 24-3-2682, approving a contract for design engineering of library rooftop and building envelope repairs. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve?
I will second.
So the last resolution was to amend the capital budget. This is to design, to actually approve the design contract itself. So there's nothing else to add to this. So.
Okay. Any questions?
I have none.
Okay. Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye. Motion passes again. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon. Next item H, consideration of resolution 24-3-2683, providing for the sale of $3.5 million in general obligation promissory notes, Series 2024A. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve?
And I will second. Mark, you going to address this?
Yeah, so this is basically our capital, next to this one and the next one is our 2024 capital budget and what we need to borrow for it. This is why it started on the city council. This is our authorization, and this is what's required by our code, to give our bond counsel or financial advisor to start going out and marketing the bonds and the authority to start doing that. So this is what this is. So he'd come back at the next meeting with the actual borrowing amounts. The first one is the 3.5, which is general obligation. I'm going through some stuff. Looks like we'll probably, this is the max, 3.5. We'll probably get it down to about 3.4 in the end. We have some savings and some other stuff. I told him not to change it to this number, but it won't go higher than this. It's probably going to go down by 100,000.
Okay. Questions?
I do not have questions about this.
Then would we be seeing Jeff at the next meeting?
Yes, they'll do all the presenting at next meeting.
I don't have any questions either. Aline, do you need a roll call?
Yeah, we should.
Would you please call the roll?
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye. Next item I, consideration of resolution 24-3-2684, providing for the sale of 1.85 million water system and sewer system revenue bond anticipation notes, Series 2024B. Is there a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve.
I will second. Mark?
Yeah, so this is a little bit different. This is for a capital borrowing for the utilities, water and sewer. Again, this is $1,850,000. Again, this number will change. It'll be closer to 1.67 once they got some fund balance. There's some extra money that was left over from the other borrowings that reduce it, some other stuff, some savings. So that it'll be a lower number when it comes to. But this is an actual bond anticipation note. And why this is because we have another water and sewer ban, is what they call them. So we're refinancing in 2026 into a long, because revenue bonds are a little tricky with the borrowings. Small ones, they get poor interest rates on those. They like to see bigger dollar amounts. They get better interest rates, and it works into our revenue stream better too. So this will be a 2-year note, and then we have another one that comes up in 2 years. It's a 5-year one. We will be paying, so it's not like we're just not going to pay anything. We do break it down, pay interest or principal too. So it's just not interest we're paying. So that's the plan. So Jeff will be here at the next meeting to talk about that. And again, the number will be less at the next meeting too.
Okay, questions?
I don't have any.
I don't either. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alder DePula,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye. Final item J, acceptance of general fund accounts payable checks dated February 16th to the 29th, 2024. Documentation of invoices paid is available in the city clerk's office. Mark?
Yeah. Page 122. This page, Dane County, Madison Metro, Monona Grove School District. This is the February settlement with the taxing district. So we collect the money, and Dane County tells us what they do some type of analysis on and break it out for us, and they tell us what we pay to each different districts. Madison College is not on here because they require a wire transfer for that. Just had it and missed it. Page 126, Fisher Bros water slide restoration. That's part of the approved capital plan. So here's one, page 128, Kansas Hotel. So we have a developer's agreement with them. So they get a certain percent of their room tax back each quarter. This is 2 quarters worth. We pay every 2.
Well, they get an amount, they don't actually get the room tax.
They don't get the room
back.
tax.
They get a payment based on how much room tax they generate.
Yeah,
right?
that's we use to figure out the number should be. It's up to a certain dollar. It's up to 800,000. Present value of 800,000. So
And that's part of our developers.
that's part of the development agreement. So when people say it's room tax is used to figure this number out, it is not paid out of room tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just how they came up with a formula to determine how much to pay. So.
Page 129, just MG&E, Monona Water, sister utilities. Page 130, Stacko 211 LLC. That's so the police officers. The way it's set up is they have to purchase their own guns. So what we do is we pay for it up front, and we put in this account, this 137 account, and then each pay period we deduct whatever they purchase the gun cost equally to the year until it's down to 0. So
Okay.
that's what that's for.
Do they get to choose what they want, or do we tell them what they can get?
I don't know exactly. It would be more for the chief.
Just curious.
If I assume they have some type of list. They're allowed to.
Yeah, Alder, I do believe they have like a kind of a defined list of of
Of options.
approved firearms.
Yeah.
That I think the chief probably approves, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Wisconsin Department of Justice on 131. So it's one of these things that, this is a police department training. They do it at the DOJ. I think that's all I had.
Okay, any more questions about the bills?
No.
Is there a motion to accept the bills?
Motion to accept the bills.
I will second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Only thing left is to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. Jackson, you got, okay, thank you.